Hey there, today we're doing a review of this guy, the Tom Bihn Techonaut 45. In this video, I'm gonna take my experience of reviewing 500 plus of the world's best bags, and we're gonna tear this thing apart. We're gonna pack it out, I'm gonna give you my honest pros and cons, and in the case that you're not quite sold that this is the bag for you, you're gonna wanna stick around to the end of the video, because that's where I'll give some alternative bag recommendations that are gonna be similar to this Tom Bihn, but also has some slight differences. Because here at Nomadization, our goal is to help you find the best backpack for your needs. Let's talk about the gist of the Tom Bihn Techonaut 45. Some quick backstory on the brand. Tom Bihn is a US-based carry brand. Well, they make really great travel gear, right? That's just what they do, is travel gear, but they do it in their very unique and sort of unapologetic way. As to when, like, you see a Tom Bihn bag, you know it's TB. They've got a unique style, and just sort of a unique philosophy when it comes to packing and traveling. Let me show you about what I mean by running you through some of the top features of the Techonaut. We've got a super thick and abrasion-resistant primary fabric. We've got a U-shaped wide opening to the main compartment, a compartment at the bottom of the bag, a bunch of strategically placed pockets to allow you to quickly grab your travel gear, the ability to stow away the shoulder straps, and I'm gonna explain why I love that feature 3 chapters from now. And a harness system that is overall pretty comfortable, but a couple things that could be improved in my opinion. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail soon. The bag currently comes in 7 different color options. Now let's talk about the size of the bag. It comes in a 30 or a 45 liter. This is the bigger version, the 45 liter. It's gonna be too big to be a personal item, like the bag that goes underneath the seat in front of you. And honestly, on a lot of airlines, it's gonna be too big to be a carry-on as well. It just kind of depends on the airline and what ticket you have. Let me tell you the dimensions though, so you can see if it fits on your airline of choice. We've got a height of around 21 inches, back panel width of around, we'll say 14 inches, and a fully packed out depth of around 9 inches. Now, just because a bag is advertised at 45 liters doesn't mean that it is actually, so let's double check it. So we got a lot of compartments in this bag that we could have filled out. We just went with the bottom compartment. Bottom compartment's coming in at just under 5 liters. So we added the 5 liters for the bottom compartment, then we're at 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, just over 35 liters. So I'd say this Tom Bihn bag is closer to 40 liters, at least like it's gonna feel like it with its carrying capacity. Because there are a couple pockets on the sides and the top that we did not include, but overall definitely not a full 45 liter, at least by the way that we test these things. Now this version of the 40 liter is advertised to weigh 3 pounds. I'm getting 3.2 pounds, which is honestly a great weight for a 45 liter backpack. This is the bag when it's empty, and this is the bag when it's fully packed out and worn on the Nomadization team. For reference, I'm 5'8", and our media manager, Margaret, is 5'2". All Tom Bihn bags are protected by a lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects. And they're one of the last few premium bag brands that are actually made in the USA, but that does mean their bags will come at a higher price point, as the 45 liter version of this bag runs around 415 USD. Now, if at any point during this review, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, that is the semi-nerdy but organizational travel backpack masterpiece of my dreams, and you're thinking about making a purchase or picking one up, we do recommend doing so with the first link in the description below. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes. But that link also helps to support the Nomadization YouTube channel and team, so we can keep making the best bag reviews on the web. Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk about the front of the Tom Bihn Techonaut 45. The first thing we talk about with this section is just the aesthetic of the bag, which with Tom Bihn, you're either instantly going to love it or hate it. It's a very polarizing bag brand in the carry community, which is like this community of backpack nerds such as myself. But it's definitely not meant to be super sleek. It's definitely not meant to be super techy. It's kind of old school, kind of like, yo, I'm a dad and I'm proud of it kind of feel. For me, definitely not my vibe, but it is like kind of cool as to where like it's like hipster ironic in some ways as well. And I can't dig on the functionality of this bag or any Tom Bihn products. They're just so well designed, but definitely the aesthetic is not gonna be for everyone. Let me know what you think about the TB vibe. Is this like the vibe you're going for? Or is it too like Kind of like dad, proud, nerdy for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Adding to that Tom Bihn proud nerdery is this adorable logo, which again, for me, who I prefer kind of like more modern and sleek designs. That's not my cup of tea. But if you're feeling those Tom Bihn vibes, then I assume you're gonna dig it. But one thing I do like about this bag is I love the color and I love the fabric that's being used. Now looking at TB's website, there seems to be different fabric options. There's a 420D, a 630D, and I believe this one is the 1050D. And the higher the number, the thicker the weave. And these are weaves for ballistic nylons, which is like a miracle fabric when it comes to backpacks. It's incredibly abrasion resistant. It's gonna give you a bit of weather protection and just looks beautiful. Like it's gonna look this good 5-10 years down the line. I often get bored with ballistic nylon because it's on every freaking bag, but there's a reason. It just works. But this particular weave is a bit on the heavier side. So if you're looking for the lightest version of this bag you can get, definitely want to see if a 420D or a 630D ballistic nylon is available instead. Now there's not a lot going on in the front until we actually get into this primary compartment, which is the main compartment, which we'll talk about in the middle of the bag. But let's cover a few more points real fast. First of all, Tom Bihn's zippers are standard zip. Most bag brands these days are putting like either reverse coil, where they're taking this zipper right here and flipping it over for a sleeker look, or they're doing PU coated zips, which is a zipper with a plastic sort of like cover on it for extra weather resistance for an even sleeker look. But Tom Bihn's like, no dude, we keeping it old school, but they are YKK zippers and they're chunky. These are like number 10s, I'm gonna assume. They gotta be. Chunky numero diaces for sure. And that, along with the 1050 ballistic nylon, just kind of gives this bag, like, it's light, but it still feels strong and like robust in its own way. And yeah, there's nothing else to talk about in the front of the bag. Let's get into what I assume to be the biggest section of this review. Let's break down the middle of the Tom Bihn Techonaut 45 liter. Now, normally I'd start with the sides and then pack out the main compartment. So let's start by packing out the main two compartments, right? Our big canyon right here and the bottom section. That's where this bag has the most capacity. Now, 45 liters to me is great for maybe like a week-long trip. It's gonna totally depend though on how heavy you pack. For me, I brag about it often on this channel, but I packed and traveled for a month in the US a couple years ago, only on a 22 liter. So like, you can go smaller if you need, and I highly recommend doing so if you can. But otherwise, if you need the extra space, Tom Bihn has got your back. This is a packing cube with about a week's worth of clothes, no laundry needed. Now, real fast, one thing that's quite cool, and Tom Bihn is always pulling off this like witchcraft, like in their bags, is you have this zipper right here at the bottom. And this zipper is connected to this fabric. And basically the way this works is if you want to utilize this bottom pocket, you keep this fabric zipped in. But if you have no need for that bottom pocket, you unzip and then this fabric will then collapse, allowing you to take up this space from the main compartment. Little things that me as a traveler, I'll never use. But if you really like your own sort of like modular system where you can like change things and customize the bag to fit the way that you travel, Tom Bihn's always got these little tricks up their sleeve like that. But I think for most people, you're probably just gonna keep the compartments separate. That's why you have the compartments, right? So back to this, we're gonna throw the week's worth of clothes, week's worth of socks and underwear. I got a tech pouch, throw my Unbound Merino hoodie on top, and that's what a 45 liter is good for. As you notice, we do have the compression straps inside the main compartment. These are not really my thing. Again, kind of old school. You can just use it to like cinch your clothes down. But just know if that is your thing, they work. Zipping up this main compartment, and now we've got the bottom. Now there's a lot of different things you can do with the bottom of this bag. I actually like this compartment. For me, could be a good spot for your bathroom stuff, especially on those long haul flights, right? Like if you're taking a 20-hour flight, I live in Hong Kong. We're shooting this in HK, right? So like I'll fly from New York to Hong Kong sometimes, and you just wanna like grab some bathroom stuff, like just, I don't know, lotion your face or brush your teeth real fast when you're at the airport bathroom. So this quick access area could be a good spot for that. But I think that for a lot of us, you'll end up putting shoes there. It's sort of like the perfect shoe size. These are my size 9 Air Force Ones. And you can see shoes at the bottom, everything else in the middle. Self-standing with this bag, it's okay. I got shoes in there right now, right? Shoes are flat. I wouldn't say this is like the world's greatest self-standing travel bag. But overall, when it comes to travel sort of like organization and access, I love this ease of access. Like as I was filling it up with the balls to measure the compartment, I was like gleeful because it was just so easy to put the balls in there. A lot of bags, it's difficult for me to put those volume balls in. And if it's difficult for me to put volume balls in, it's difficult for me to put the clothes in. You get what I'm saying, right? So overall, love this. Should be noted too, in the main compartment, we have this zippered mesh. Not crazy about this mesh. There's no elasticity to it, but also because of that, the mesh might be a bit more durable. So it could be a great spot for a book. Bada bing, bada boom. Top handle. I'm sure there's some like super in-depth reason why Tom Bihn did like the unicorn top handle, the rhinoceros. I don't know what they call this, but if you think about it, a top handle is only gonna serve a few purposes on a travel bag. You're rarely gonna be carrying your travel bag like this for extended periods of time. It's just kind of like when the bag is on the floor, as you're shuffling to actually get into your plane seat. Or when the bag is overhead in the carry-on bin, easy to grab, easy to put back. Overall, this is just Tom Bihn's creativeness. They're like, dude, everyone does the handle this way, but not us. And for all the Tom Bihn cult members out there, yeah, I know you're watching. If I'm missing something with the functionality of this handle, let me know in the comments below. Appreciate you. Now the side handle, a bit more traditional, really nice padding, really nice rebound. I just love the way this handle feels. This material on the back is silky. This just feels great, but I will admit, it is a wider handle. Like as to where when I'm holding it, it's kind of folding over, but it's really comfortable. Notice how Tom Bihn actually sewed this really nice fabric over both edges. It just gives it a really nice carrying experience. And a lot of things in this bag are kind of like premium slash luxury focused, right? At the end of the day, you don't need to spend $450 on a backpack to travel with, but if you're going to, you want that $415 backpack to feel amazing. And this handle feels amazing. Top here, we have side pocket that goes down to just around the bottom of the handle here. So this is the real estate we're dealing with. Could be a good spot to safely stash your passport. It's not gonna work with a big water bottle though. This is a 1 liter Yeti. You can see, no, that's not happening. How about for a smaller 24 ounce water bottle from Colombia? That is also not happening. So not very water bottle friendly, this backpack. Maybe on the other side we'll have a better shot. So for now, we're gonna keep this for the passport. Could be a good spot for your boarding pass as well. Now this top pocket, this little diagonal one, it's just so cute. It's like slashy. It's not symmetric. Tom Bihn doesn't care about having like the most beautiful like lines that move into other lines. It's like, yo, this diagonal cut works more functional in our opinion. So that's what we're doing. But I like this pocket though because it gives the bag some volume up here. So you can see right in there, we can actually fit, let's see if actually this water bottle will fit. Oh yeah, perfectly showcasing the volume that I'm talking about. Oftentimes on a backpack, these top pockets are gonna be very thin. They're not very likely to accommodate girthier bits of gear like a water bottle, but as you can see, this one does, and it's got a key leash included, which can detach. There's not a lot of bag brands out there doing detachable key leashes, but there's a few holding strong, and honestly, I can't wait until more bag brands convert, because this is the way it should be. Easy to take your keys out. For me, good spot for the sunglasses. Now flipping over to this pocket, potentially could fit a water bottle. 24 ounce Columbia, let's give it a shot. Yeah, for sure. But this is where we're gonna run into problems if the main compartment is even more packed out. I've got it about 85% full, but if you wanna go like 110%, then this water bottle pocket ain't gonna really work. And that's because while you do get a bit of extra volume, not really. This is actually very unlike Tom Bihn in my experience, where usually pockets always have their own volume somehow built in. And this one's just kind of like, it's pretty flush. But if you do want to bring a water bottle, it can still accommodate it. You just got to make sure the bag isn't like 115% packed out. Last part in the middle is this bag can be transformed into a duffel or messenger, as to where you'd connect the shoulder strap here, and then you can carry the bag on your shoulder. To be honest, for a bag this size though, I wouldn't get too jazzed up about that. It's so big, it's so bulky. It can serve a purpose like when you're going from train to train or maybe plane to plane, like short distances. But I don't know, for a bag this size, I think it's a little bit more of a gimmicky feature than it actually is functional. Let's real fast test if a Yeti can fit in there. 1 liter. Oh, wow, we can actually make that fit as well. But it's a big boy. Now real fast, I gotta tell you, if you're really enjoying this breakdown of the Tom Bihn Techonaut travel backpack, then you might be a bit of a bag nerd, or at the very least, like a travel nerd, and you like cool gear. If that's the case, I wanna let you know that here at Nomads Nation, we don't just do reviews on our YouTube channel, but we also have the Nomads Nation newsletter. And in that newsletter, you can look at me like you're a reporter in the field of what's happening in this incredible industry of travel gear and EDC gear and bags and everything in between. So if you want to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening, I'm talking about the newest drops, limited edition releases, industry trends, exclusive giveaways, and everything in between, then you're gonna wanna sign up to the Nomads Nation newsletter, which you can do by finding this globe emoji in the description below. I hope to see you in your inbox. Let's talk about the back of the Tom Bihn Techonaut 45. Here we got a top handle that is a bit more traditional style, and I love this handle because when you're traveling and you're in that dodgy train station or that smelly bathroom, you know, and you just don't want to put the bag down, this allows you to hang it on a hook that should hopefully be provided by the bathroom people. This is a very nice nylon webbing, same fabric that's used on seatbelts, and the inclusion of this for me is just like, it's crucial on a backpack this size. Now let's talk about tech protection. This zipper right here, non-PU coated, and this actually is a reverse coil. I don't know why Tom Bihn reversed that one. But this is where our laptop goes, and I got a cutout of a 60-inch MacBook Pro. You can see, absolutely fitting it. Not gonna get a 17-inch there due to the width, but this is a big laptop slot. False bottom, pretty epic. We're actually like right around here. And false bottoms in tech compartments are great because if you drop the bag, your laptop is less likely to get damaged. Overall, it's a pretty nice laptop compartment, a little bit of padding on both sides. We got padding, obviously here on the back as well. I wouldn't say Tom Bihn is renowned for the tech protection. You know, I'd look to more like brands like Air or Tortuga if that was my #1 priority. But if you travel with a laptop here and there or not at all, like you're gonna love this because this compartment is totally out of sight, out of mind, not taking up any real capacity if you're not traveling with your tech. Before we talk about the comfort, let's talk about the shoulder strap stowage scenario. That's to where you can unclip the shoulder straps from down here and then slide them on in behind the back panel padding. Now here's the deal. It's easier to do this when the bag is not fully packed out, but when the bag is packed to the brim, shoving these shoulder straps into these slots is a little bit more challenging, but you know, it's not too hard. You can see it takes a bit of bicep and tricep to get it in there, but I quite like it once you get them in there because it's a very clean solution. A lot of these shoulder strap stowaway systems, just not as clean. This is probably one of the better ones that I've seen. And the beauty of this system is that when you are putting the bag in the bin overhead, or, nah, you're not getting this underneath the seat in front of you. I don't think so, at least. Let's just say for most of us, you're gonna be putting it in the carry-on bin. This just means less dangle, less things flapping around, easier to slide it in and to slide it out. You're heavy. And we can also stow away the hip belt. I'm using air quotes for a reason when I say hip belt. I'll explain why in a second. So you can go ahead and throw those in the side or unclip them all together. It's G-hook though, so good luck with that. I've broken many a fingernail trying to unclip G-hooks. Not my favorite thing to do. But let's talk about the overall comforts. One thing I hate about the bag and the hip belt. Comfort for a backpack, especially a travel backpack, comes down to a few crucial things, mainly the shoulder straps and the back panel. Back panel in this bag, fine. We got some ventilated mesh, bit of padding. It does the trick. And what's interesting about the padding is you can see we've got these parts of the bag that have no padding, and then the padding is actually here, which should provide a bit more ventilation as well. Now, the shoulder straps themselves are quite thin. Actually, I don't know why they look so thin. 2.5 inches, it's right around where you want them to be for a travel bag this size. And I actually didn't think I was gonna like them, but I actually did like them. They're juicy. Like, they got some nice rebound to them. I think it's the thinness. I think that I expected them to be uncomfortable. Yeah, that was the problem. So you can see we're dealing with about an centimeter in depth, which for me, usually not enough depth for a bag this size, but the shoulder straps, they got it going on. Now, I would probably prefer a bit more padding, a bit more depth, but overall the contoured shape, plus the sternum strap, plus the back panel, plus the hip belt, make this a pretty comfortable bag, but a couple caveats. Caveat number 1, the hip belt is more of a belly button belt. My belly button directly underneath this buckle, which by the way, who makes you? National Molding. Anyways, I don't know what that is, but back to my original point. The hardware is over the belly button, and I'm 5'8", right? So my torso is not the longest. So if you got even more this in the torso region, it might even ride higher. But again, it's just one of those things where it does help a little bit. I guess I'd rather have it than not, especially when the bag is fully packed out. But one thing this bag is missing that I loathe entirely, especially at $415 US, is all the excess dangle going on. If you watched our reviews before, you would know that myself and No Dangle Dan right here, we hate dangle. And that's all there is to it. And at 415 bucks, I really just wish that this was a bit more flush. Tom Bihn does sell extra web holders, but at this price point, I'd like them to be included in the bag. One last note before we talk about the pros and the cons is pairing this bad boy with a suitcase. Which if you're doing means you're packing pretty heavy, no judgment. This Tom Bihn's got your back. You can see we got this back panel where there's no stitching on the top and the bottom. Well, when it's this way, top and bottom. And that allows you to then slide the suitcase handle just like that. And I'm gonna be honest, this is a great luggage pass-through. It's designed very well, it's slid on very well, it's gonna be very easy to take off. The only downside is that the bag is on its side, which a lot of people prefer the bag to be upright, but on a larger bag like this, it might be too tall anyways. I think that they probably made the right call. Because when it comes to travel, those guys at Tom Bihn, they definitely know what they're doing. But while I'm a big fan of the comfort of this bag, it should be noted that everybody has different comfort preferences and different body types, right? So if you want to hear what anybody else thinks about this bag, a good spot to ask is in the comments below or in the Nomads Nation subreddit. Here at Nomads Nation, we got one of the biggest bag nerd communities out there. So if you have any questions, those are two great places to ask. Okay, let's talk about the overall pros and the cons of the Tom Bihn Techonaut 45. Pro number one is Tom Bihn's extremely thoughtful and intentional design choices. Pro number two is going to be all the quick access options that you have. And pro number three is going to be just how high quality this bag is. It's definitely not cheap, but it's definitely a very well-made bag. But on the flip side, cons, my first one is going to be the price point. At 415 USD, the value to price ratio, it's a tough sell. You gotta really love this bag and really love bags that are made in the USA. Con number two, the aesthetic is not gonna be for everyone. And con number three is while the bag is comfortable, there was some comfort compromises, like when it came to the hip belt and all that excess dangle, which me no likey at this price point. But everybody has different preferences, and my cons could honestly be your pros. And if that's the case and you're thinking about picking one of these bags up, just a reminder that we do recommend doing so with the first link in the description below. That link just makes sure that you get the best price, and if we have any discount codes, that's what they'll be. But if you're not quite sold on the Techonaut, let's talk about some of the alternatives that I teased at the beginning of the video. First up, if you're new to the Nomads Nation channel, I strongly suggest checking out our leaderboard video. This is where myself and our whole Nomads Nation squad, we get together and we pick our favorite bags in different bag categories. This is a great way for you just to get an idea of like different use cases, because everybody really has different preferences. And then you can get a really strong idea of what the best bags are on the market. But if we're pretty close with the Tom Bihn, I'm gonna give you two alternatives that are just a little bit different that might better suit your needs. Alternative suggestion number one is gonna be the Pakt Travel Backpack. This is a great pick if you got a bit of a budget and you like a bag with a ton of features, but you actually kind of want more features and maybe more like sneaky, interesting features. Tom Bihn's features are more just like functional capacity, but Pakt's got like a bunch of features that are actually, I don't know, kind of awesome. I'm not even a feature guy with travel bags, and I can admit like a lot of those features, they slap. And alternative suggestion number two is going to be the Tortuga Light Travel Backpack. Great pick for you if you want a bag that's probably more comfortable than the Techonaut. Not that the Techonaut is uncomfortable, just Tortuga is like that beefy chunkalicious, like super chunky shoulder straps, hip belt, like, back panel. They really take comfort to like the next level. And it's just a bit more minimalist and it's a bit better tech protection. Honestly, all three bags are amazing. You just gotta pick the best one for you. But to learn more about the alternatives, you can just go ahead and watch these videos here. If you got any questions about any bags, be sure to let me know in the comments below or in the Nomads Nation subreddit. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.